Everybody ready to podcast?
Yeah, I think so.
This is the Imperial Scrolls of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I'm Jay Baxtron.
And I'm Jeff. What's my name? I'm Jeff Burns. Fuck. Off to a bad start.
And we, maybe, see if we get around to it or not, are going to be bullshit about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today we are Red Valkyrie Shot the Food, an Atari and Mindscape's 1990 collab for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Gauntlet 2. We are working with Nintendo Power number 19, the 4-player extra strategy guide, as our literature of antiquity for this endeavor. There's 12 pages of tips, tactics, and other T-shit for alliteration in there. The emulation disclosure, I emulated my ass off for this on the Nestopia Core and RetroArch PC, on my PC. Whew, this is not starting off good, guys. With my Slamma-Mamma Jamma NES Advantage piped in for full arcade experience on my single-player forays. I kept it grounded for our couch co-op, though. Just a basic bitch NES controller for that. Jay, how did you play?
I mean, I will not disrespect it by calling it a basic bitch NES controller, but that's pretty much how I used it, because that is the way to play this game, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
Okay, Jay, I probably played with fucking keyboard controls like a monster.
I don't know that I did that. Because I only played the co-op. How did I play? I have no idea.
Xbox. It was an Xbox controller. Yeah,
no,
actually.
it wasn't. No. I fished out my... Was it?
I'm pretty sure. I think we talked about that. I think when we were going through our control.
I know mine was
It was.
Xbox.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Yeah.
Okay. Word. Please rate and review the podcast if, you like hearing us stammer through these openings or anything else we do.
5-star shit right here.
Yeah, it's absolutely elite podcasting. Please do let the world know via ratings. And what are we jamming on now, Jay? What are you jamming on now?
Lots of varied games. Having some time off the last week was very nice.
Yeah, you were fucking messaging me about putt-putt, and I was like in the desert or something. I was like, damn it.
Fucking desert. My girlfriend
looking for a virtual desert experience, perhaps on the putting green. Yeah, I played a few games, man. I actually, was rotating through some Brotato, finally competing runs regularly. So that's nice. Just every now and then switching that up. Been playing a lot of Gears Tactics, actually. This is a real-time strategy game set in the Gears of War universe on Xbox. And, I mean, the graphics are good. Like, the gameplay is fun. It's obviously turn-based. And so when I'm looking for, like, action, but, like, something that I can pause and take my time that's not PvP, my typical, player versus player thing. That's been a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun dipping my toe back into that. I think I'm, like, I don't know how big the game is, how long it is, but I'm in Act 3 right now. So, good stuff.
Art. It's just Gears. What is that? It's like cars or something. It's like car robots or something.
No.
It's like alien.
Alien warfare. Invasion type warfare. I don't even know. Man, the fact you don't know, I'm just like, whoa! I was completely unprepared to talk about
Gears 1 and 2, and they're a blast. Actually, I had a really good time playing those games.
Yeah, like honestly, the new game. I know Xbox announced that there's a new Gears of War game called E-Day coming out. Like, I guess that's when the whole enemies emerge for the first time. So that got me hyped, and which kind of brought back, like, hey, I should play some tactics. So that's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I've always thought that was like cars battling or something.
No. Absolutely.
No, definitely. It's not Twisted Metal.
No.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what I'm thinking of, actually. It was some kind of rip off that.
No, not at all.
Nope, much better, actually.
Yeah, much, much better. Some would say one of Xbox's flagship franchises these days. So playing some of that, and then absolutely just been getting my ass kicked in College Football 25, man. Like, this game, I've been looking forward to it so much. It's not Madden, which I like. I love college football. That's me. I love the college game much more than the NFL game. And so they really did a freaking fantastic job of all, like, the pageantry. When you come into the stadium, like, it is your team's opener, your team's intro, stadium, band, everything. even down to the jersey changes. So obviously you can customize jerseys, like several preset jerseys.
Can you put yourself drunk in Section C?
There are definitely those dudes. There's multiple modes. You might be able to do that. I know. It is very funny though when they zoomed into the audience a couple times, seeing like people painted and stuff, and I'm like, I feel like I know those people over there. Like I've seen those dudes. But it's great, man. It really does. The first couple times I played it, it really felt like, oh my gosh, I'm watching a football game. Like even Courtney came in, she was like, "Wait, what game are you watching?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm playing this game." So it's really good, but it's freaking hard. Like it is.
Well,
you will throw.
Don't worry, all EA Sports games are just a matter of figuring out the math, and once you do, you'll just score 70-0.
I
Fucking
don't know, man.
Games.
I don't know, man. Early community feedback says yes, you will throw interceptions, and it is hard. Like even the teams that like are supposed to be whack and easy, like your MAC schools, like your Sun Belt, no disrespect to them, but like your smaller teams that like normally would be the quote unquote cupcakes at the beginning of the season. Man, they will put some points on you if you don't lock in, and yeah, if you throw it errantly, somebody will be sitting there to pick that shit off. So it's good, but it's tough. It requires like me to be in the right mental space when I'm playing it and accepting the fact that like mistakes will happen until I become like really good. Like it's just gonna happen. So I'm not even dipping my toe into any of the like really fun modes where you're like building a dynasty. Like I'm just trying to get better at the actual gameplay part right now because I don't want to like have that have me stumble later. But it definitely is all of my dreams and hopes and wishes when I think about the last time I was able to play college football, which was on my PSP back when we lived in New York, like going through seasons. That was literally the last time I was ever to play college football, you had
a PCP? Or PCP?
What?
You had a PCP. You had a PCP back in New York, Jay? I didn't know you were on PCP. No. Yeah, you had a PSP? I didn't remember that. I had a PSP.
Yeah, I think I like traded it to like an ex-girlfriend for like some random hardware I had, which she was like, I don't have this, I don't need this, and I was like, hey, I don't need this thing, so we swapped, and so I was like, hell yeah, like I was playing college football all the time on that. It was freaking awesome.
Interesting. Yeah, I had one, and why didn't we swap UMDs or something, Jay? maybe I got mine late. I feel like I did get mine maybe a little later.
Yeah.
Than the I don't know, the initial release window of that, because that was around for a while.
Yeah, it was definitely a going to auditions. I'm sitting around, or sitting on the subway kind of thing. Because when we were at home, we had like Madden and stuff to play.
I very much remember having it. Yeah, I remember taking it to Florida when I did that Brett Ratner thing. So that'd have been like 06 maybe.
6, yeah. Yeah, man. So that's been really good. Hopefully, I will actually get good, and it'll be more fun than it is. But other than that, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Grounded, man. A lot of Grounded these days. I played this a lot when it first released in early access.
Backyard shit?
Yeah, the backyard miniature stuff. It was in early access for so long. It's now fully out. It's been fully out for a bit. It's just, it definitely fills that void when I have the kind of that cozy feeling where I want to just build stuff and like chop stuff down and build and kind of take my time. But also there's a little element of danger if I feel like going and fighting stuff and, getting crazy. I can actually try to follow the quest and actually go out and battle things. So it kind of feels both. It fills both needs for me, kind of to chill at the same time, give me some danger when I want it on my own terms. And so I've kind of been enjoying that. Life's been crazy, so I like to kind of have it more controlled in the game these days, a little less fast-paced action, except when freaking orb weavers and things come at you, then gotta get on your toes. You never know what's gonna happen, man. Get stuck with some venom.
Stay on your toes.
Or something.
Orb weavers, definitely. It's always when I'm on my toes about.
So that game's pretty good. We played it back in, me and my buddies have tried to get into it in, I think it was like beta.
Oh, yeah.
We were playing. It just very clearly wasn't complete, so it didn't hold our attention. Then we moved on to other things. But I've been trying to think of a game to get the guys back in because we haven't been playing a lot of multiplayer. So you recommend that one?
Yeah, it's worth a try for sure. I mean, because
it's very Subnautica. Like you said, you get to be creative and but you can also like strike out and like adventure a little bit. So
for sure, it's like what kind of base? Like, there's this place up there that I want to get to. But at the same time, like, there's this objective here, so I can just build this base here, and then I just get stuck building this base for hours, like farming stuff. But I'm enjoying that. Like the core gameplay loop of doing that is so satisfying that I kind of want to keep doing it.
You're definitely describing a Subnautica.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell me, buddy.
Yeah, that's a Subnautica thing.
Yeah, so highly recommend that if you're looking for something to get into.
I might check it out.
So yeah, it sounds like it'd be kind of my wheelhouse if they just get it into VR. Maybe I try it.
Oh my gosh, dude! Just well, Josh, you do have VR, and it is on Game Pass. So all you gotta do is just jump in right there, sign in, play it on your VR headset. Sold. You can join my game.
Huh. Well, I can't.
We can build together,
I would
Josh.
need Game Pass though, right? I can't.
I mean, well, yeah, unless you want to buy the game, which you can also do. It's up to you.
Huh.
Either way, let's play some Grounded. It's good stuff.
Flat screen. I don't know. Flat screen in VR.
Oh my god! Shut up.
Thank you, someone to back me up on this. There's good games.
He's fucking insufferable on this.
There are good games happening.
It's the idea, the universe around me has not caught up to the perspective. It's just I don't even know where to begin. I don't know. It's just relegating yourself to these antiquated practices. I just don't understand why you do it to yourself.
Anyway,
no, I don't know what to say.
Jab, what are you playing?
What am I playing? I guess I'll just start at the top. I've actually been playing SimCity 3000.
Oh,
you mentioned this.
Yeah, and I'm having the fucking time of my life. I'm really taking my time with the city design. I'm thinking further ahead than just the next block I'm going to build. I'm incorporating, like, how would you say this? So, like, it's obviously a grid system, and, you build your blocks, various sizes, whatever you really want to do. But, like, one thing that I never did in the past was, like, I never made plans for the future. Like, so now I might make, like, an 8x8 square of dense residential. But instead of just surrounding that with a road, like, I've actually taken the time to figure out how far away each thing can grow from the road. So you can put things up against hillsides, and you don't have to run a road on the hillside where it's about to fall off, downhill. So you can plan like that, put things, like, right on the hillside. I also incorporate, like, I leave, like, a whole line open. So I'll make, like, essentially, I guess I make a 9x9 square for an 8x8 block. And then in that 9x9, you can put parks, you can put, bus stops, subway stations. So it's just, I got a lot going on in my life. And I, like Jay says, I like to be creative in my gaming when I can be. And it's like one of those things.
I'll let you do that for sure,
yeah. Yeah, and I'm just, like, kind of taking the time, like, because I don't think I'm going to ever play SimCity 3000 ever again. Like, so basically I envision this city as, like, my last playthrough of the game that I'll probably play, honestly, for, like, 10 years.
Your what do you... Sistine Chapel, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Oh, I haven't even put any of the... yes, it is my... Yes, I am Michelangelo here, and this is the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
It's such a good game. It's a
great game, and it's better than 4. And I don't care what anyone says. I don't want to play 4. It's too much micromanaging. SimCity 3000 is.
I felt that way about SimCity 2000.
Yeah, and I think this is actually, you're going to hate what I'm going to say. SimCity 3000 is to the SimCity series what Civilization 4 is to the Civilization series. It most encapsulates the core mechanics and spirit of the original games without doing too much bullshit.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. When you were talking about it, I'm like, it made me want to go reinstall it.
It's on Steam, dude. It's fucking $5. I couldn't believe it. They could have charged me $40 and I would have paid it. So yeah, playing that.
So you played this some time ago as well?
Oh my god, I played this, like, back in the day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I played it. I had it in college. I
never would have pegged you as a SimCity player.
Yeah,
I had in college. I had SimCity 2000 precisely. I still have the fucking CD-ROM, actually, because I never threw all my CD-ROMs away.
No, I had 3000, maybe even recently, maybe like in the last 10 years or so, I might have even played it again. It's good stuff.
Let's see here. Okay, yeah, SimCity 2000 is just a whack version of SimCity 3000. Yeah. Oh, SimCity 3000 is so good. Anyways, so I've been playing that, really taking my time. I'm going to play that for a very long time going forward. On and off. I'll have plenty of time at a certain point to do things like that. Then I've also been playing the Wizardry remake that they just released recently, or the Wizardry 1 remake they made. But it's funny, although I've been playing it, like I've gone down to level 4 in that one that's very like grid-like, and it's got a lot of traps and all the intersections of the paths in the dungeon.
The spinner room? Is this the spinner level?
I fucking don't know if it's spinner. Like, I know you don't get spun in this one unless they changed that, and I just haven't encountered that yet. The one I'm at's not.
Well, the map I'm thinking about is there's a spinner on every every intersection, basically. So,
yeah, and it's not spinning me. It's they're pits, and you fall into them, you take severe damage. So I haven't dicked around down there too much. But what I have been doing is just leveling up at Murphy's Ghost, and I've found a way to set the input of the A button to turbo in like the controller configurations, and then I just go to Murphy's Ghost and I wrap a rubber band around the A button on my Xbox controller, and then I just like go do other things. It's like the efficiency boost that my life has experienced from this. I can't speak to it enough. Like
automatic
I can just
leveling machines are fantastic.
You are
it's
all about
automatic
the speed game.
Dude, I got other shit to do, man. I got like school, I got work, I got my social life. Like I got I'll just like set that rubber band on there in front of Murphy's Ghost, go mow the lawn, weed whack. I'll go to the bar and hang out for a few hours, come back and just still whacking Murphy's Ghost. So there gotta be a better way to say that. But
he doesn't drain any life. There's no risk of death for this.
No, there is, but like it's with Murphy's Ghost, it's he either misses you or does 2 damage. And my characters are like level 15, roughly 120, 132, 123 hit points for the main front guys. And their AC's low enough, especially with using a priest spell to decrease the AC for the entire expedition. You just don't get hit all that much. And even if you, like, I've come back and, like, you know, people were dead and they just move, like, the mage and Todd, the thief, up. But then they've got to kill them, too. So, yeah, there's plenty of time, and then you just go back and... I mean, I guess I am running the risk of getting turned into ashes and losing my characters forever, but... I mean, I've only died 1 time with my frontline characters at this point, so... I'm at, like, level 15 or 16 with the samurai, with the 3 samurai front lines, and I think I can just beat the game now, so... I'm gonna actually play that game through in earnest and actually finish it, so... Also that.
Okay.
I think that's it, though. What? Yeah, that's about it. I try to get out with my buddies on Helldivers too, but they don't like me anymore, so I don't think we do that.
Well, I'm not playing any of those things. I'm not really playing much of anything. It's been a while since we had a main quest ep, so I haven't. Whatever. I finished that game I brought up last time. Nightmare Frames, Jay. It's like a Jab. You might actually. I don't know if I've talked to you about either of these, but Paradigm. Have I mentioned this by chance?
This is a game.
Yeah, it's a point and click. They're both modern point and clicks, but they are styled in the old school way in many ways. Paradigm was a sci-fi one that was fucking amazing. I don't even know where to begin about how to explain it. It's like, just littered with great comedy and fucking, it's like this goofy ass sci-fi universe. So that was really good. And Amy and I were playing that, and that got us on kind of this point and click kick. And when we finished that, we downloaded this one called Nightmare Frames, which is set it's like a 1980s Los Angeles, and the main character is this screenwriter who has fallen into writing shitty B horror flicks, and is not happy with that life. And then something happens, and he kind of has to take this noir detective fucking responsibility on and go out and do these things and solve puzzles and do point and click shit. So it's very 80s style, and there's also the Hollywood fucking thing to it that of course is mildly interesting to me. So I've been playing that, and we actually finished it right before I started this fucking flick, or it probably wouldn't have happened. But yeah, I would, if you like point and clicks, sure, play it. It's no Paradigm by any length, but it was a pretty good experience. And again, that's called Nightmare Frames. But Paradigm, Jab, holy fuck! It's only like fucking $3 or something at this point on Steam, and it is so fucking good. It is so fucking good.
I don't put a lot of value in your word, but for $3, I'll do it this time.
Yeah, it's worth $3 for sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I haven't fucking played a ton because of the work shits. I have had just like some random pop-ins, played a little demo here and there. And it's funny you were talking about SimCity because I, for some reason, picked wanting that same kind of like just total creative. There's a certain one of the most comforting things about SimCity, I think, is it has the civilization, which is the part of civilization I like. I've talked about this many times in the podcast, but just the building without the destructive force fucking with your flow. It's just like this creative output with no, it's very hard to have a regression in SimCity or games like that where you're just literally building and you might hit a stagnation, but very rarely is there a scenario where you lose ground, you know what I mean, and have that frustration that, of course, the fucking, what was the last time we were talking about Civ? I got wrecked unexpectedly by some leader, Alexander or something. He fucking just surprise attacked me. And, that, of course, is just completely ruins what the fuck you were doing and is just wildly frustrating, of course, because then you're just like trying to get even a foothold back, let alone actually make progress again for quite a while. So, yeah, in SimCity that doesn't happen, but I started playing this game that I've had for quite a while called Little Cities on the Quest platform. And it's very much like, they're kind of like mini SimCity scenarios. You get they're all islands, and you get dropped there, and then you got to like take this certain piece of land and build it up and get it to a certain point to move to the next thing. And the catch with this game is it's more predicated on making an aesthetically pleasing environment, not just a constructively productive one, you know what I mean? Whereas SimCity is more about checking the boxes, having the tax revenue, building the things, having the right zones by each other, and all that shit's still here. Like, obviously if you have residential shit by commercial or industrial shit, it's going to hurt the aesthetic as well as the citizen happiness, so there is that present, but it's much more about there's way more. And I guess I haven't played any of the really modern SimCities, but there's a ton of these little aesthetic park things and little fucking kiosk stands and stores and shit that have varying degrees of help factor to what you build them by, and everything has like a perfect pairing, you know what I mean, that you're trying to, and you're not told this, so you're trying to kind of discover this by trial and error to some degree. And then it's just a really, and of course there's like a city aesthetic score that you're constantly trying to build on, and it adds a layer to SimCity that is really interesting. And because of the short-sightedness of them being levels and not this ongoing plot of land that you're, developing on just this, ridiculously long run scale or timeline rather, it's more, it's more compact experience, and in turn you feel better about trial and error because it doesn't have long-term consequences, I guess is maybe the way to word it, you know what I mean? And that's a cool, twist on that game style.
That is like the big, I don't want to say it's a big, I don't know that a game like SimCity has a flaw necessarily, but if it had a flaw, I would say that its ceiling is a little bit lower than other games because it's just wide the fuck open.
Right.
It's like the scope is like so vast that like at a certain point, in my experience in my entire life playing through the various SimCities that I played, you're just like, okay, I did it.
Right, exactly. There's you don't have an endpoint, and even honestly, I think maybe one of the bigger detractors of SimCity for me has always been just like getting over the idea of starting a city is like, it's just like I know how much time before I'm going to feel any satisfaction out of it and get to any place that feels like an accomplishment is so much. It's so far down the road that it can kind of be an inhibitor to even starting the process, because you know how much work you have to put in it to get anything truly out of it, which is, that's tough. And that's one of the cool things that Little Cities overcomes as well, because you have this finite thing.
Nice. That's an interesting perspective. I actually enjoyed the process of just like road building and like all that, like the design.
Sure, me too. And there's one called City Skylines, which I guess is it's kind of...
Yeah, I was actually thinking about downloading that one too.
Yeah, they have that in VR.
I think the internet likes
they have that on Quest, and it's fucking obviously amazing. Fucking being able to whatever, and you can go down to street, which you probably do on the flat screen one too. But you go down to street level and yada yada yada. So I've had that, the full kind of just open-ended city building experience in City Skylines recently too. And yeah, I mean, I think I like Little Cities more because of the bite-sizedness of it. I don't know. I just enjoyed it more. Yeah. And maybe that is just a getting older and gonna die soon thing. I don't know.
As crazy as it sounds, that's why I started playing SimCity 3000 again. I was just like, it turns out we've only got so much time. I better enjoy this one last time.
That is
Don't shoot the potion.
Bringing us into this ep. Let's go.
Step back into the mazes of the dark dungeons with Thor, Thyra, Questor, and Merlin. With over 100 new mazes to explore, experience all the action, graphics, and sound of the arcade. Use your powers to fend off your old enemies, ghosts, grunts, demons, lobbers, and sorcerers, along with a couple new ones. As you delve deeper into the dungeons, you'll become enthralled with the world of Gauntlet 2. And I think most notable thing I had reading that at the top of the manual was it'll be really fucking weak if couple new enemies is literally all they added. And after playing it a bunch, my guess would be that, or rather that is, in fact, all they really added as far as assets go. From the first one. Matt Gould and I were bantering back a bit on the Facebook page about how he's like, I need someone to go through and explain to me what are the differences. I don't think there are any. Other than just the 6 years or whatever between the two games coming out on the arcade and then in turn the home ports. Like, I don't think there's really a difference. Slight graphical upgrade just because of that time passage, but otherwise it's the same fucking exact thing, I think.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get a little bit into that. But
yes. What is it, Jay? What the fuck is this?
This crazy game is, it's a fantasy-themed top-down dungeon crawler, and there's lots of crawling to do. I'll tell you that.
Infinite,
I think
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is exactly the amount of dungeon crawling you can do if you so choose with this particular cartridge. I don't believe there is. I think it invented the roguelike essentially. I think this is the first time. There's like hints at there being a precursor / thing that Gauntlet 1 ripped off that wasn't quite in the public eye enough to be recognized as such prior to the first Gauntlet, but I'm pretty sure they kind of invented this. So I'm going to try to, throughout this little chat, keep that in mind with my criticisms and the things that maybe I don't care for about this experience, because they were literally paving an unpaved road with this. So grain of salt with all that, I suppose.
Is this where I don't? This is a little sidetrack. We can only stay here for like a few sentences, but this is an isometric view, right?
Is it isometric? I mean, is it isometric? I think it's top down.
Doesn't sound right.
There's maybe a hint of gradient or a slight
isometricness.
Yeah, just a little bit of a few degrees maybe off, just to give it some slight amount of depth.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
It's still
isometric is way overstating it.
I was going to ask if this is where a game like Diablo got its start, but
right, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It did invent the roguelike, which is, while Diablo is isometric, it's much more about the gameplay style that made Diablo such a trailblazer in, you know, all the advancements they took with this genre than the fact it was fucking isometric. You know, that was just again, I think to provide depth is really the only idea behind that, just to give it a more of a quasi 3D feel than a perfectly top-down kind of board game might make you feel, you know?
Yeah.
So it dropped in 1990 in the US, and we're not going to talk about any more September 1990 happenings. That's one of those already ran into the ground months. Stop living in the past, people! For the cover art, it is really, really great fantasy artwork. The 4 characters are backed in together, ready to squab. Kind of, you know, I'll lean against you, you lean against me, and we'll stay out of the muck kind of thing. Atop a sunset-lit grassy hill with lightning cracking in the dark sky behind them. It is bordered with an ornate castle stone deal, title treatment up top in the Gauntlet font. It has the 4-player game logo of the time prominently placed on it to let you know to go grab that peripheral before you leave Toys R Us. And the back has a basic 3 screenshots, and no Gauntlet screenshot is really all that cool. It's just the top-down view of the gameplay. I think they really maybe overlooked they should have used the title screen art that's behind. I think it's funny that Jay, you and I both have used it here because there's nothing else to look at. That's fucking interesting while you play this cartridge, because all the levels, you know, yes, the colors are different and that's great, but everything, all the pixel art, they're super small little things. There's no huge cool boss battle things. Like, yes, the dragon is in here, but it's far from big and epic as far as, you know, the presentation of that, if you even want to call it a boss, is. So yeah, there's no boss battles, no fucking cool pixel art, no nothing as far as the visual stimulation that this cartridge might provide. It doesn't really have any. So in turn, the back of the box screenshots reflect that, at least honestly. You know, at least they didn't, I guess, make some shit up to put back there to make you buy it. That's not, you're not going to see playing the thing, so that's nice.
I feel like we've seen that before. Like, there's got to be an example of that. I can't recall it now.
Well, they've certainly, you've certainly had different screenshots from different ports and stuff on back of the box. I don't know if there's ever been like totally fictitious, nor do they have the means, partly because they probably would have if they would have had the means, the tools with which to create such fabrications, but they did not, so they kind of stuck taking their shitty little fucking 19-inch fucking CRT screenshots.
Right.
The copy is unique but basic, half of which focuses on the 4-player possibilities, and that is kind of how it weaseled itself into our game map lineup, mostly, so that makes sense. With the manual, it is blue and white monochrome, technically 20 pages with covers, but probably more like only 11 pages of actual content inside. The first thing after the synopsis and objective outlines are a character breakdown on page 3, and I was surprised, I mentioned this when we couch co-opted, but I was very surprised to find that the characters have a decent amount of variance to their attributes, which break down into 4 categories: armor, shot power, melee, and magic powers. So each character, of course, has their pros and cons. Thor the Warrior is tough skin, so his armor eliminates 20% of damage that is taken. His shot power is excellent, and it's twice the normal power. And then his hand-to-hand is, of course, excellent because of his battle axe, and he can destroy monster generators. The trade-off with him, of course, is his magic power is dog shit. He cannot hurt generators with it, and doesn't hurt some monsters even. Like, not doesn't kill them, doesn't even hurt some monsters.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, pretty big magic trade-off. Thyra the Valkyrie is kind of your even-keeled paladin type deal, and she has even better armor. Her shield gets up to 30% of damage lopped off any hits you take, but has poor range shot power, and her sword is good at melee, but still can't destroy monster generators. The magic situation for her is moderate, can tango with most monsters and the generators, but not up to par with the next option here, Merlin the Wizzy, and his armor reads none in all capitals. So yeah, you're not supposed to play him like a battle mage over here. Jay's most toxic trait is not a good game to be doing that with. The shot power is great, of course. His hand-to-hand is poor, of course. It's denoted as no weapon, and of course, cannot take out the generators in turn. And the perk with Merlin would obviously be his magic capabilities, and it does all the things and mercs everything on screen every time. So very, very elite on that front. And then lastly, there is Quester the Elf, and the leather armor he wears gets him a 10% armor bonus, and then the shot power is kind of, I was surprised to find, shockingly poor, considering his whole deal would be a bow and arrow. But his melee is a dagger, and it's moderate, but can't merc generator, so just kind of on all fronts, his attack power is pretty shitty. His magic power is okay, or rather pretty good. It does have one tier back from Merlin, but I guess he is pretty good on that front. So that's a little bit of offensive capability, but again, all his normal attacks are pretty shitty. And they don't mention speed here, but homie is the fastest by a mile, and that's why he's meh otherwise. So it's not spoken about as a statistic, or an attribute rather, but that is a factor too. The characters do have different movement speeds, and I think it's kind of all pretty logical. The Thor is the slowest, Valkyrie probably next, and then the Mage, and then Quester the Elf is the fastest. Then there's a page and a half of villains, breakdown following that. It's mostly standard issue D&D bestiary entries here, but the explanations do highlight the best way to deal with them between the 3 attack methods, ranged, melee, and magic, so that's kind of a nice little strategy thing too, that I wouldn't have necessarily expected to be a differentiation from enemy to enemy. That's all kind of just, they have X number of hit points or whatever, and however much you deal is however much you deal, and you just hit them that number of times. I wouldn't have guessed that there was any variance to how you could deal damage to them, which is pretty cool. And they do mention here that the one enemy called It, that starts a game of Your It, where the enemy will home in on, all enemies will home in on the character who is tagged as It until they touch another character to make that person It. And this goes pretty much until, not pretty much, it goes until you exit the level that it happens in. So that's kind of an interesting thing too, that I don't recall being in Gauntlet 1 either. So I guess that is an addition, if it's, not an asset addition. Well, I guess the It thing is an asset that's new, but just the kind of concept of it is a new thing as well.
It's kind of funny because I don't remember the thing happening, but I remember the It thing happening. Like, I don't remember being hit.
Right.
And that causing it. I just remember being like, oh.
It looks very much like a, what the fuck did you say when you were talking about Grounded? Orb? What did you say?
An orb weaver.
Oh, yeah. It looks like it might be called an orb weaver. So it's pretty nondescript. I think it's just like a little blue ball or something that, it doesn't really do anything or make you feel like something special is happening. But it might even give you a voice sample, like, Valkyrie. Red Valkyrie is It now or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, which is...
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't even know it's happening. Because everything, you kind of feel like you're always being hounded from all sides anyways, so it would take a pretty sizable number of enemies on screen and a pretty sizable spacing between the character that is It and the other characters, I think, to even notice the behavior patterns changing with the enemies, but
it's very chaotic in the first place.
Right.
I guess it is introducing like a little bit of order to that chaos, but I don't remember it.
Right, yeah, it's certainly not significant enough to be a huge deal. There is a solid 4 pages of power-ups, hazard pickups, and random shit you'll encounter in dungeon levels. After that, there are pickups for boosting each player's attribute category that are explained. Food keeps your ever-counting health up, and food and water, and then poisoned versions of those can drain chunks of it instantly as well. The Keys blurb mentions a peculiar note. If you do not fight for about a half of a minute, all of the locked doors will open on their own. And, there's more explanation about this shit later, especially in the strategy guide. But that initially reading that, I was like, that's fucking weird. But there's actually a few of these things, and it makes perfect sense given the trade-off you have to make, which is, the ever-counting life meter is always going down. So anything time-based that might improve your situation is, of course, a trade-off because you're closer to dying when you get to it. And that's bad. So there is some bolded text here that reads, "Warning, do not pick up too many keys," which is ambiguous in both threshold quantity and why the fuck it would be bad. But playing in practice, you will learn is because you have a finite amount of inventory space and you don't want to put just keys in there. You also want space for the potions that do the magic attack for everyone, and that, of course, is bad to run out of space for those. So that's what it's referring to here, even if not explained. And then there are amulets that give you a timed magical effect of some kind. There are a number of them. There's invisibility, invulnerability. There's repulsiveness, which makes monsters run from you, kind of like a cleric's turn undead spell, which is cool. There is transportability, and this is probably the most interesting, and we certainly encountered this when we were playing our couch co-op. You can pass through solid objects like walls and shit. And the downside of this, which is very interesting and we never would have thought of, but you cannot pick things up. You basically can't walk onto any tile that's not just an empty floor tile. So that means you can't pick up any food, water, keys, potions,
amulets.
anything until you exit the level and lose this power, which is the only way to lose it. So, or maybe if you die and have to continue,
it's probably another way. I think.
Well, not just get hit. It's definitely not just taking damage. You have to die for sure, because it's not just getting hit the one time. At least I'm pretty sure not. I guess maybe I don't specifically remember that, but yeah, I feel like really my logic to saying that is you are constantly taking hits while playing Gauntlet. So like the idea that I would have for any substantial length of time not taken any hits at all seems insane to me, because I know at no point was I like, oh shit, it's gone, yeah, that never happened when I had that power. So I doubt it's just taking damage. There is a 10 count of super shots. I don't know or recall ever getting this, I don't think, but the idea with these is they are persistent, so they keep going after killing an enemy. So if you have a bunch of things like in a hallway or something, you can really waste a number of enemies with that, should you find it in some way or somewhere. And then the last one is the reflective attack, and this bounces off walls. This is the combat effect like we were talking about, where you can bounce shit around corners and stuff, which is pretty cool. There is a number of traps and hazard tiles to be found, also some teleporters, and then treasure rooms can be unlocked, and they explain that here as well. Jay, notable history and Game Genie codes that didn't make me feel like I was cheating. Did you bother to fuck around with any of these in the one-player experience?
Yeah, I mean, so the interesting thing about the history here is that when you talked about what's different from this and Gauntlet 2, shortly after the release of the original Gauntlet, from then until sometime in 1986, Atari held a contest where they had players submit like level designs, game ideas, and other suggestions for a potential Gauntlet sequel. And so I found it and pulled up the Atari Game Players Club article where they announced the winners of that. And it turns out
that's very cool, yeah.
Yeah, they apparently had 130 valid entries, which they said is just about what they hoped for. And they kind of listed the players in alphabetical order who will get T-shirts and kind of all that. So pretty cool that like players directly said like, here's a bunch of levels. So we know that there's a bunch of levels that were completely came from other people, which I think is pretty.
Were there fucking gameplay, just like quality of life improvements that people suggest?
I don't know. This one doesn't say. It just kind of just says like this is our first contest, and it doesn't really give the details of like,
what the suggestion was.
Yeah, unfortunately, I would love to know that. Like, hey, which levels? Like, what's the follow up? Like, I want to know like, was I in charge of creating these 5 levels, these new characters? Like, what did I contribute to? Like, I'm sure they kind of know at the time,
right?
But it doesn't.
Oh yeah, you definitely. The individual that submitted the shit is definitely walking around for the next decade. Like, I'm the one that came up with fucking whatever, the reflective shot or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, so that was super cool to see, and fascinating that I was able to pull that that scanned newsletter up, no problem. But in terms of Game Genie codes, there are a couple I didn't use any. But there are a couple that I would use because, again, like I playing in one player was just kind of like, this is just not as fun as the multiplayer. But like if we were to play co-op again, I would probably use the things that make things last longer. So there's one for invisibility lasting longer, one for repulsiveness lasting longer.
Are those only timed? Or I guess they must not be the whole level, right?
They're timed. Yep. And then stronger poison. And taking less damage from monsters, that might be fun if you get to like a point where we're just constantly getting racked and just kind of can't get through. So a lot of these seem like they may be situational because I feel like we were able to kind of just keep going for the most part. Right. But those are ones I would consider if we played again.
There was one. So I was looking to confirm, Jab, your mention of this being an infinite experience. I was poking around to make sure that was actually the case. And it is, but the way the person that had the video that fence tested that, it appeared that it basically turned on. It was a way of accelerating the time window you have to wait stationary for everything to turn into exits. Which I don't know if I mentioned. I don't think I mentioned that yet, but that's something you can do too. I think it's if you wait, whatever the time window is, if you wait another 30 seconds on top of the thing, it was unlocking doors. So I think if you wait, it's like 90 seconds or 120 seconds or something, all the doors unlock. If you go another 30 beyond that, all the walls turn into exits. And I think the code they had on basically just skipped the wait and turned every wall into an exit, so they could basically just, as soon as they start the level, walk into an exit and just keep moving all the way down the line. Because
forever, right?
This video got all the way to 999 and then resets at 1.
999, like,
and keep in mind, there's only, I mean, they say there's 100 levels in that synopsis or whatever.
Yeah, I
question how different the actual, like 10, like they're different technically, but it's kind of the same fucking thing, And you get, as you play, I guess, this is a little bit jumping the shark here, but as you play from level to level, you get that little informational screen before the level starts, kind of giving you an idea of like what the broad new thing you're dealing with here. All the fucking door, all the walls are exits, or some sort of whatever the fuck it might be. You're kind of told that. So, Okay. Nice. Well, Lunchroom Table Tip Eavesdrops. This was at the top of the new game section of Nintendo Power 16, where it gets a page of coverage that is not conveying really much more than just go score this game. It's very much just a kind of an announcement more so than any kind of review or coverage. It does have a power meter thing, though. Gets a 72.5% as an aggregate. There's a 4 in graphics, which is a little crazy to me. And sound, too, which is crazy. I mean, they must just be jerking off the voice samples, I guess, because there is no sound. There's no music, and the sound is just the sound of the pea shooter that the fucking guys shoot. There's next to nothing as far as audio anything in this game, so I don't know how the fuck you give it a 4 in sound. And I understand you're combining graphics and sound for that 4, but again, it's also not like the aesthetics are anything special either. So giving it a 4 in that category is nuts, and it's 3.5s across the board otherwise.
Well, doing my typical how could I see this happening kind of situation, I guess if you're thinking of the arcade experience and now you have your NES, and at the time, I mean, there wasn't much voice sampling in the games yet, in 1990. So I guess if you're hearing
Blades of Steel, and
Red
Croissant.
Wizard, like Red Wizard is now it, and like you hear the like music in the background, that could elicit feelings of, oh, this makes me feel much more like.
Well, you don't get music in the background,
experience.
Jay. What are you talking about? Music in the background? What music is in the background? There's no music in the background.
I mean like the sounds, like when you combine the sounds with it, like I could kind of see that.
I guess.
I don't know. Informing, Halo affecting your perspective.
Sure, yeah. The voice
comparatively,
sampling.
yes, across all this, no.
It probably is by far the game with the most voice samples. And the voice samples are good. They're certainly better than, again, like you have NES Play Action Football. Most every one of them kind of sound like you can maybe get something else out of them. First down sounds like croissant, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So, and Blades of Steel even, like, it's Blades of Steel because it's on the title screen and you see the words Blades of Steel while you're being told it. But if not, maybe you don't. So, yeah, the quality and the quantity are both pretty high on that front. But yeah, I mean, maybe the novelty of it at the time gets you there, but yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's the stretch. Otherwise, it doesn't.
Otherwise, it's tough. So there's that appearance in Nintendo Power 16, and then there's the whole 4-player extra 12 banger we'll talk about in the next segment. But there were no classy info or multi-console coverage instances whatsoever up to this point in the MAG timeline. Miyagi, could you stop snoring while I podcast? Could not be less enthused with that.
It's absolutely riveting content he's hearing.
That input. He's like,
he's like Gauntlet.
No, pretty sure I'm gonna keep doing this. Actually, fuck off. Yeah, fuck off. Drag me to the desert for the last fucking 3 weeks. How about eat a dick? Okay, well, define what I presume is all expectation. I actually did come up with an economic analysis for this game.
Oh, God.
So let us talk through the number of dollars I would forfeit from my life savings to never have to play the one-player experience of Gauntlet 2 ever again. And the computation to arrive at that figure is actually quite simple. It's just 1 multiplied by fucking all of it.
That is the
Remember, don't shoot food.
Yes.
bringing us
sir.
back to this next section, which is
The 4-player extra feature, a little bit of literary antiquity before we get rolling with the game, because there ain't shit to talk about in the fucking game, so let's talk about other stuff. So we open this 12-banger with a sweet table setter. Jay, could you please read that?
Come, young adventurers. Gather your belongings, your weapons, and magic, and step through this magic portal into the dark dungeons and misty underground world below. Come with your fanciful ideas about dragons, maidens in distress, and treasure, for you shall find them all. But beware, you are not the first young souls to travel here. Many have entered with the same resolve I now see in your eyes, and all have failed. Come, Thor, with your skill in battle, and Merlin, the powerful magician. Come, Questor of the quick and feet, and you, Thyra, the cunning Valkyrie. Come and experience incredible 4-player excitement. Come and run the gauntlet.
It's pretty goddamn good. And what they're describing there is a game genre that, like I mentioned, did not fucking exist prior to the first installment, and that's pretty cool.
All right.
There is then a gorgeous and thorough item breakdown occupying the rest of this first page before we get an explanation of how the game works on page 3. That means descriptions of the gauntlet are shrouded in mystery and confusion. Every traveler who returns has a different story to tell, so it seems that the levels change each time you enter. However, the few who have returned all agree in some form about the first 5 levels. Here is a description of what is known to be true. And then they go on with some blurbs about these 5 starter pack levels under the guise of calling it a traveler's guide with accompanying screenshots and the full levels, or maps of the full levels, rather. Then the page wraps up with, there is no way to tell in what order you will encounter the levels after level 5, but it seems that eventually you will come upon some of these very tricky places. And that is their segue to a next 3 pages of the feature that are large screenshot maps with some tips for the level pictured. There's 2 to a page for these random levels you could encounter in any order. So remember to flip back if you get stuck, dear Loric Disciple. And I don't, getting stuck? I don't know. Could you get stuck? After playing, what was it, like 32 or I can't remember the exact number of levels that we
30
played.
plus levels, yeah. It felt like we got stuck for a minute there. We were
a little
like,
confused, but at no point were we ever like, oh, we're just fucked. Like, oh my God,
That's
please provide me information, Nintendo Power. I just don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so much content in here, you never know. It kind of feels like that,
Yeah, there is. Content is a great way to describe it, Jay.
There's a lot of stuff going on and a lot of levels with which to find that
trash
stuff.
modern television is exactly how to describe what you get from playing this video game. Just a lot of the same that's just a little bit different, and maybe at its core is really meant to do little beyond kill time with.
I mean, I can see, especially if this was originally designed as an arcade game, like I can totally kind of see like, hey, yeah, here's some levels. Kind of like your Pac-Man. Here's like a fantasy Pac-Man, like go forth and enjoy yourself until you get tired. And
Fantasy Pac-Man is a really interesting analogy.
That stopped me for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking good.
I come up with marketing gems. That's what I do. No,
I guess you do.
That was good. I don't know if that's a marketing gem. Maybe it is. Well, in 1990, it might be. Today, no. But in 1990, it might be a good marketing gem, yeah, because Pac-Man is still anchored, I should say, in a deeply fond, memory / whatever of the, people know what Pac-Man is and have a lot of affinity for it in 1990.
I mean, I think that's kind of the way I've been thinking about it, because when I look at this, like, yeah, to my everything about this was new to me. Like, I enjoyed playing it multiplayer. Like, it was fun. I was kind of disappointed to find out, like, there's so many levels and it just kind of goes on and on. I kind of thought there would be, like, an end.
Me too. I really am disappointed by that.
Yeah, like, I'm like, whoa, that bums me out because I kind of wanted to, like, oh, let me get to the end. But when I think about it more in that vein, it's like, all right, now I kind of get it. Like, as far as I can get, like, think of it more like Pac-Man. Like, I want to get as many levels as I can get, or I don't know, have some other specific goal.
Points, and there are fucking points here. Points. You know, it is. Yeah, it's a different walk of life for a video gamer for sure. You know, than
well, and this is the kind of game that's also it's designed to eat quarters at like Country Skateland, right?
Precisely.
Yeah, it's because it's not having an end would be counterintuitive to the intention of the game,
right? But that, that raises the argument of, you know, Nintendo's kind of whole stance at the time of like, okay, you're bringing it over to NES, then you got to change it and make it. They didn't know to say you got to make it more appealing for a home console consumer. They didn't know to word it that way yet, but that was the idea they had. They knew they were selling a different product and it needed to have something that differentiated it. They didn't know to give the fucking bumpers on the bumper bowling lane to keep, you know, to get it to where it really should have been. It only sometimes happened the right way, kind of like with Double Dragon, where, you know, they added these other things and they made it fucking more suited for a home experience. That wasn't always the outcome of that directive from Nintendo, and this is an example of that. I think that, you know, it's just not. They didn't make it better or different, you know. It is just relying on, yes, our quarter-eating fucking mechanics and design concepts that leave you wanting as a home consumer.
This is a game you're going to pick up and play it kind of like you would play Monopoly or play whatever game that you had like your set amount of time to play that day, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, of course, I've already equated it to Diablo in a more modern context, but what you're, you know, that kind of thing, the concept you were describing about Pac-Man is present also in that. It's just there's just been so many layers laid on top of it that make it more interesting, you know. And again, it's really hard to maybe criticize them so retroactively in 1990 or even 1986 for this being that back then, or needing those layers back then, because obviously, you know, Diablo had 30 plus years of, or not 30, I guess, 10 years, 90, when was the first Diablo? Maybe
97.
Yeah, something like that. So,
I had to guess.
You know, close to a decade of think tank time to come up with ways to make this more interesting, you know.
Man, nothing actually, sorry to walk on you there, but like nothing. There's just like perspective, like time and perspective, and let me just spit it out. There's like almost no greater display of a more severe difference in what games could do than saying Gauntlet came out in 1990 and Diablo came out in 97.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I think you got to say conceptually Gauntlet 1 came out in like 81 or something, 82 maybe, and Gauntlet 2 in the arcades hit in 86. So you have 11 years there.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so there's a little bit more time in there, but still, I don't think your point falls entirely short. You know, it's so funny to me too. So I'm looking. I have the issue open here, and if you look on page 27 in the bottom right corner, there's an illustration. This is so. I feel like I don't know. The universe just handing this to me. This illustration meant nothing to me until now. We're having this exact conversation on the topic that we're talking about. But
what
this
page is it?
27 in the bottom right corner. It's a little tiny illustration next to that awaits you the depths of Gauntlet, and it's like one of those optical illusion staircases. The staircase goes nowhere.
Yeah. It feeds into itself. It's that who's that artist that does that? I'm gonna look it up because I'll never guess.
Yeah, I don't know the artist's name, but I certainly know what you're talking about. And yeah, I mean, this is literally there. It's a fucking exit. It's a stairway to nowhere, dude. That's so good.
Escher.
Okay.
It's an Escher thing.
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious that's there. And
Just
I
find
don't-
the exit somewhere near the center. Like, okay. Just
Right, yeah. Or maybe just jump down the chasm in the middle and kill yourself is maybe the actual
Yeah.
best case solution there.
That's going to look real good after a while. And it's funny. I don't know if they intended that. Is this what you were getting at? I don't know if they intended that.
Well, that's what I
this
mean.
game
Yeah, like
is.
I mean, there is no other way to interpret that, right? I'm not looking at that and thinking and not thinking the right like, that it's not a never-ending staircase. Like I feel like the artist's intent has to be that it's a never-ending staircase there. Correct?
Yep.
Do you guys agree?
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then that is even if the editor didn't realize that and put this here in the layout with that being the intended message, the artist 100% did. And even if they slipped it under the radar of the editor, that is the artist saying this experience is just kind of this, everything we've just been saying.
The
kind
staircase,
of
right?
this redundant, kind of going nowhere, just wasting your time again, a gameplay experience, and I find that to be amazing.
Well, I think it's just funny that it says that you will run into that experience into the game where you're just like, all right, circling around. Let me just figure out what to do here. Like,
Yeah.
it's funny to me that it says you will come across this. So there must be a level where there's nowhere to go, but just figure it out. Find the magical exit here, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is exactly what this is saying. That it's speaking about this level specifically, but I think there's this overarching application to the gameplay experience in general that is really funny to me. Anyhow, page 31 is all about slaying the mighty dragon. Somewhere in the deeper levels, you may find a powerful dragon. Not much is known of these mysterious beasts, but you can be sure that if you do meet a dragon in the depths of the Gauntlet, you'll be the strongest of all enemies. It will be the strongest enemies of all the enemies that you face. Whoa. And there are some tips here for accomplishing this feat, but prior to playing and meeting this thing myself, I couldn't make any fucking sense of them. Ultimately, in practice, though, what this should just say, really, is one person needs to distract the motherfucker, the other needs to stand far enough away not to aggro it after that distraction has occurred, and just shoot it with ranged attacks until it dies with 8 million shots, basically. So, yeah, and I guess maybe the specificity thing that I'm not included in that is you obviously want the distraction to be happening on the other side of that wall that it cannot attack through. So the person doing the distracting is essentially invincible while they're being attacked, and the other things can just shoot it down that hall, you know? So, yeah, I'm guessing that it doesn't appear anywhere other than that one particular map, because the way it's shown here is exactly the place we found it, you know, when we encountered it. So, I don't know. That's, you know, it's, again, kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, why? Something more interesting. Well, no, actually, that's a fucking lie. Hold on a second. Let me look at this map. Is that where we found it? Were there things on the ground in front of it? Or I feel like it was in a yellow walled thing, actually.
No, I feel like we saw it in like a purple place. Like,
was it?
Like this?
Okay. I could obviously review
I
the
believe.
thing. See, I feel like I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
What page is it again that we're looking at here?
31.
31.
It's the only
30.
map, the only level map on page 31, on the top
Okay.
half there. Yeah, it's like on the bottom. I feel like it was more in the middle, and I feel like the walls were yellow. But
No, that's not how we saw it, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't remember there being those barrier things on the ground in front of it. It was just at the end of a hallway. Because that was the whole problem, Jay. You kept walking too close to it.
I kept walking up. Wherever
Battle
we
mage,
were, I
he's
kept
gotta
walking
get in the
up.
thick
And you're
of
like,
it.
oh no, you gotta stay down. You gotta stay down.
Yeah. So I guess maybe it does appear in different maps, or maybe just the fucking, you know, this is actually what we really might be encountering here is when they say there's 100 different levels. This is a perfect example maybe of where it's really, although I don't remember the middle of this level either. I don't think we ever saw this.
But that's what I mean. Maybe if somebody got up to 999, maybe there are discrete 100 different ones you can find, and then after that, there's just like
repetition of some kind.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is they just kind of reskin wall colors
After
and
that.
shit like that, you know. And maybe
makes sense.
where we saw the dragon was really this, but it was just a different color. But again, yeah, I don't remember things on the floor, and the middle of this looks super unique and interesting. I don't
remember seeing that.
I don't
remember
think-
seeing that, like the way that looks in the middle, unless we like
Skip
just
that part.
kind of went down and
Right,
around
yeah.
or something. Like, because I remember a big long wall, like in the bottom right corner. Like I remember seeing stuff like that. but I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Who the fuck knows? Yeah, there's no way.
Actually, no, I definitely do remember. I take that back. I do remember a level like that now because I kept always trying to shoot diagonally through those squares, and I remember seeing that pattern.
I'm kind of do remember seeing those the ghosts there
Yeah.
and having to shoot those ghosts through that. That does look kind of familiar, but yeah, the left side of that doesn't look all that familiar. But all of this looks kind of familiar.
Somebody check the tape. Check the tape.
That describes this game. It's like, I think I've seen this.
Yeah, maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I don't care if I did or not. I don't know. They do point out you can destroy the treasure hoard that the dragon drops, and I remember yelling about that. And yeah, if you shoot it, it'll disappear, and that's a fucked up thing considering.
That's a terrible mechanic. That's a
Yeah, because you're going to be firing off crazy at a dragon.
Well, exactly. Yeah, the only way to play this game is to just be fucking spamming everything around you. So yeah, it sucks that you can shoot things that are important. I mean, that's how it should be, because you should be penalized for doing the easy thing.
What?
But,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but it is tough. It's a tough thing to chew plus it's a tough thing to
steep
bite
price to
off
pay.
and chew because of fucking the way you just almost have to play this game. The last 5 pages of this are kind of like hints type deal that probably should have done the fucking manual, but we'll take our tips and tactics any way we can get them in 1990. And the first thing they explain is a multiplayer tactic they are calling anchoring on page 32. Jab, could you please take that?
Yeah. We didn't do this, did we? I don't think that we did.
We did not. We should have actually perused this right before we played, so we could have had these things fresh in mind.
Yeah, we should probably take our own advice that we try to give people with this podcast.
Right.
Life in the Gauntlet is no easy task, young heroes. If you are to survive, it will take all of your cunning, guile, and might, and a bit of luck as well. The fate of entering this vile place is almost always determined by... That's a weird way to say that. The fate of entering this vile place is almost always determined by how well they work together. The screen scrolling in Gauntlet 2 can be used to your advantage if you are clever. One player can anchor the screen by staying in a certain spot, while the other characters explore. This will allow you to get to heavily guarded items easily, because not all of the enemies will be allowed on the screen.
That is super high concept, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking. I remember making a remark at some point into probably in the 20s or something of those levels, where like you could feel us getting good and learning to kind of work in synchronicity and like working off each other in some way, shape, or form. This is like the most, and I think I said tournament ready was the verbiage I used, and this is like the most elite of elite things, where you like learn. You understand the scrolling so well that you can get that anchor point down and let the others kind of spin off that, and yes, basically keep enemies from being able to get to you, which is a really, really cool strategic approach to this.
I actually feel like, as simple, as simplistic as this game is, this is one of those games that I think would be fun to watch, like, ranked people play.
Right, yeah.
Just, like, see them work together and, like, how well they do it.
Yep, and all the little exploitations and whatnot that they would be able to employ would probably be sweet. Yeah. Agreed. Diagonal attacking is next, shooting through the gaps when 2 wall tiles are only touching at the corners, and towards the end is an even higher difficulty skill in this vein, and this is walking diagonally over exit tiles, touching at the corners. To get to treasure, sometimes exits will be used as literal barriers, to things you might want before you leave. And yes, you can walk over the corners of them, but that walking diagonal is it's risky for sure, but super difficult to do.
Yeah, if you're trying to avoid the exit, that's risky business there.
Yeah. We jump in the shark again, but that how many times were we unable to just walk down a hallway because of the impreciseness of the fucking movement shits with this. So yeah, doing that reliably is, you got to be savvy. Seasoned and savvy. Crumbling walls are explained to potentially hold wall meat, a la Castlevania, and it is also mentioned that you can unleash hell unto yourself by accidentally shooting walls you don't want to have crumbling. So again, you got to lay off. That's another example of laying off that attack button, hombre, more than you absolutely need to be. Shooting poison containers creates an AoE poison fog that also hurts enemies. And who doesn't love them some AoE? That's a cool feature. Then the running out of keys thing, or rather problem, can be circumvented, as mentioned in the manual read. But here it is explicitly explained that it takes, yes, 120 seconds. That was the time count of no attacking or moving or anything to have the doors all go away. And it, of course, couches that by saying it'll, in turn, drain your life. Add less life for a Gauntlet character is bad. And then the next one says if you can take another 15, so it's, 135, not 30, 15 more seconds, all the walls become exits. You can skedaddle out of there. Which is a weird design choice, I think. I mean, I guess, it's kind of like, it's funny that this is what pops into my mind, Jay, but the Adventures of Lolo suicide button, Like, just like that's essentially what it is without the dying part. But it's just like a last-ditch effort, like, this isn't working. I'm kind of fucked in whatever maze way. And I'm just like, okay, I got to get the fuck out of here, So you don't quite kill yourself, but you do have to wait fucking 135 ticks off your HP, which is kind of the same idea. The next one explains characters only have 6 inventory slots for keys and magic potions, so since Thor is shit with magic, they suggest he does all the key toting to leave room for others to stockpile magic, particularly Merlin. We did think to employ this. I mentioned this, so that was one of these tactics that we did use in our couch co-op. And there is a pretty high-level cheese tip utilizing transporters following that. And this is the one I was trying to find. I think I tried to sputter this one out too, but we didn't exactly understand it well enough to employ it. But if you only have one teleporter on screen, you can reappear in the one that you like. That is, that's the one you're going to come back on. It's not going to take you to some fucking teleporter off screen. So if there's only one, you can walk into it over and over again, and it'll fucking spit you back out. And any enemy that has walked onto the tile that you're spat out onto is automatically murked. So you can theoretically just kill entire hordes via this teleportation attack if they're mobbing the teleporter, you and the teleporter, you know what I mean? Which is a pretty cool, again, high-level tactic that would so seldom present itself as an opportunity. You would have to be awfully Gauntlet 2 fucking seasoned / savvy to really think of and actually, employ. So that's a good one. And the final page is about the mysterious secret room. I will read this shit. What will you find in the mysterious secret room? Hidden somewhere in the depths of the Gauntlet are mysterious secret rooms, legends of great treasure and powerful magic items hidden behind their walls, like those you gain from the dragon's hoard. Sadly, the way to enter these rooms has long been lost as the sands of time fall slowly over our land. The tales are great among the inns and castles. The tales are great? What?
They're weird, dude.
but who is to say who is telling some forgotten truth and who is simply spinning tall tales? The secret to finding these rooms is hidden somewhere in the Gauntlet itself, so they say, but only the bravest and most wise of adventurers will ever see these mysterious rooms. Search, if you will, but remember that many have failed before you, and probably many will fail after you. Have long since given up the wandering life of a dungeon explorer and settled down to comfortable life above ground. That's a really long paragraph to tell you nothing.
What the hell is that?
But yeah,
it's
but
a lot
it is
of writing exercise.
Yeah, but it is a very flowery and good prose, if not informational at all. And there's a screenshot, and even the caption to that is just more run around. It says, "Will you be one of those that finds your way to these scarcely entered halls?" And yeah, I mean, we just to remember to talk about, we encountered these a handful of times, and these are timed situations, and you get like 30 seconds, and the catch is there's just treasure everywhere and no way to be harmed, at least that I can recall in any of them. But the idea is you accumulate this treasure, and unless you get to an exit before the timer runs out, you don't get to keep any of it or the points that it awards you. So it's kind of a greed versus safety kind of choice, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Are you willing to push the limits of how much treasure you can get and forego an exit that may be available to you before having like 2 seconds left or something, you know?
Right. And finding the freaking exit, knowing where it was.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh,
and there even was the one we encountered where it moved on you, or actually I think 2 of them moved on us, so that's probably one of the more core mechanics of it, just so you can't kind of just huddle next to where it is and get all the treasure around that and be totally safe to get to the exit before the timer runs out, So I guess they did a good job of kind of mixing that up. So that's it for Literature of Antiquity. Let us get into the actual gameplay, one-player experience. First up, The title screen is probably the coolest part of the whole game. We have the iconic Gauntlet theme, scoring full-screen pixel artwork of the whole gang. So it's behind Jay and I right now. And there's one encroaching demon baddie that is preceded by absolutely zero dumb shit after firing the card up, I mean. And yeah, it's just, boom, Gauntlet, let's go. Like, there's no, even the legalese stuff that you would get with a licensed title isn't given to you until you hit start and go to the character selection screen. And, so this is kind of super rare, actually, and I really wanted to applaud them for this because, usually the legalese is presented in a way you often can't even skip over it. It's like forcing it down your throat.
You're just sitting there.
Right, and like in this case, not only is it not right up top, but it's on a screen that you're going to be doing something else. You know what I mean? You're looking at the character selection thing and engaging that, so you can literally skip it. Like they're checking the legal box, but not wasting the player's life, and that is a really nice thing that may sound like no big deal, but it is a pretty deliberate, I think, and kind design choice, particularly for the time, but maybe ever. I mean, even today, you'll have legalese forced down your throat, for whatever reason. I guess I'm sure there's probably their legal teams like, no, you can't do that. It needs to be.
It's really
the disclosure must occur.
Guys, if they don't read it.
Yeah, we are not covered. CYA does not happen if we don't force it upon them.
Gotta justify their jobs, really, is what it is.
Right. Funny thing about that iconic Gauntlet theme, it is the only piece of music on the whole cartridge. Not one other, even a nugget of a cue. There's not, like, if you go to the G. Belair fucking thing. Is there even a G. Belair one? I can't recall. But
he has a song. Yeah, he has the track.
Just the one track? That's fucking incredible that he bothered. Did he still create a playlist? Or is it just, that's the question.
No,
that's probably the most interesting thing about this whole game.
I did see one. It was three tracks. This, and then, like, the start sound. And
I was going to say, some of them will have the cues,
Yeah.
But G. Belair won't. He usually doesn't do the cues. It's like the sound effects. I mean, usually it's actual just score pieces of music. Even if they're rather short, they might just be like the death cue or something. It's only a few seconds. Yeah. But he usually doesn't put just sound effects, But some of the other ones that'll do those that'll rip the audio off things will do a whole every sound effect or at least every sound effect.
But that was the thing. Even with this, like I picked on because G. Belair only had the one. I clicked on somebody else who had like the list, and it was just that one song, and then like a 6-second sound of I can't even remember what it was, then a 5-second sound, and that was legit it. The whole track list.
Great. It is, it's an amazing fucking theme. It's in the fucking opening to the podcast, for fuck's sake. But it's just hilarious that there's just like no bother to do anything else. Which even more, I mean, you know what it is? It's because of those fucking voice samples and how much I'm sure that ate up of their allotted audio fucking amount on the cart of the 64K or whatever it might have been that led to that, you have to assume. But the first Gauntlet had, we have a cue coming up from the first Gauntlet. So the fact that the first one has more audio than the second one is insane.
Yeah,
but yeah, crazy. It is because of the voice samples almost surely. Each of 4 potential players just cycles through the class names on their color-coded bar at the bottom, and when everyone hits start, it is go time with whomever everyone chooses. And it is a rough but still perfect voice sample, bringing us immediately into the game on the next screen. Welcome, Red Valkyrie, on my first playthrough. So when you first come in, I guess I don't recall if it does it for everyone. But on the one-player thing, you definitely get it for the character you pick. And it actually says the player you chose in your color. So
yeah, I thought it said it for me, too. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it definitely did for each one of us.
Okay.
Like, Red Warrior, Blue Valkyrie.
Yeah, because I guess you can also, that's the thing, too. I think it might start with whoever picks their thing, and then it goes to the thing, and you're still allowing you to cycle through kind of arcade style, where like you can come in at any time, So that's a cool thing too, actually, just in general, that you could essentially be playing the game for a while, and then your buddy shows up finally. He's fucking late, and like hops on controller 4 and just jumps right in. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now we talk controls and HUD, and woo, buddy, our controls no bullshit. The thingy that looks like it moves. Works just the way you think it would. And according to the manual, A does your base weapon attack, and B does your magic attack if you have the ammo for it. But unless my controller is mapped wrong, which I doubt, these were the other way around for me on my controller. But both start and select pause the game, and in addition to the redundancy there, pause is also interesting in that touching any button D-pad included, unpauses the game. So usually, like probably 99% of NES games, you have to hit the pause button again to unpause, which I think is the better way, of course, because a controller laying on the ground, anything could happen to it. And,
That's true.
So it should be just the one input to get it back off of it. We also, I guess the thing about the significance of this too, we also learned in our couch co-op that only player one can pause. The other, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, no combos, no special moves, no bullshit. Just do video game, Lord Disciple. So, flow of the game itself. This first dungeon level that you come into gives you a taste of what I think is one of the more central Gauntlet mechanics, and that is the choice between cowardice and efficiency, and conversely, glory/punishment. So you can either go straight to the exit after navigating one lone ghost generator to grab a couple treasure chests and a key right by the start and head to level 2, or you can take that key and press onward to the south, where you will risk getting thumped up for more treasure and an exit that takes you straight to level 6. And that is essentially it's kind of like a fucking a hub screen almost of, do you want to skip the tutorial, the starter pack levels that the strategy guide mentioned, the first 5, and just go right into the thick of the shit, or do you want to kind of get your feet wet one by one with these starter pack levels? And that's probably a cool design choice.
I like the idea of that. That's kind of fun. So especially if you're used to it and you're like, all right, I want to go do a run.
Right.
Start over.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a great
this.
way to term it. Yeah. It's like an actual kind of in the same way that what's that? Hades. Like do another. It is just another run again. And again, they don't even have like that verbiage does not exist yet, but that's what it is. Which is it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that southern route, you will encounter some grunts and demons. There's the ghosts. Manual description for these reads: stay away from the ghosts. They will hit you only once, doing a lot of damage, and then disappear. You should shoot ghosts as you cannot fight them hand to hand. So that's again going back to that. Like I said, each enemy tells you the best way to deal with it. The grunts, manual description reads: grunts will run up to you and hit you over and over with their clubs. Shoot them or fight hand to hand by pressing the control pad in their direction as they approach. And that, I guess I didn't think about that. I was kind of wondering, actually, while we were playing, like, what's the difference between melee and shot thing, or rather projectile combat? And I guess that's how it differentiates it, is if you're holding in the direction of the thing you're attacking, it's a melee attack, which I had not thought of, and who knows if I was actually thinking
doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of it's something that you maybe just kind of inherently do to some degree, because you're trying to get to the place that the thing is standing in front of you, blocking your way. But yeah, I never thought to like deliberately strategize, oh, ghosts, I don't want to melee them, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I was all magic, so I was shooting magic all the time. Right. So I wasn't even thinking.
The demons, or there are demons here as well. The manual description for those is: demons throw fireballs at you or bite you over and over if they are close enough. Fireballs do more damage than bites. There's a parenthetical there. It tells you to shoot them or fight hand to hand by pressing the control pad in the direction as they approach. So they just repeat that over to you, or rather repeat it to you over and over and over again, which is probably good because, again, I read this manual and I still didn't know it. So pounded them enough and you fucking maybe actually internalize that. And when you do get hit by the fireballs, I noticed you make a little ow voice sample sound, and each one of the characters has their own voice sample owie kind of sound. And I think I enjoyed, if I recall correctly, I think I remember saying that I enjoyed the elves most. It was most, like you would assume it to be, the most, like, wimpy,
Yeah.
So whichever of the two exits you go with, the animation for going through it looks like getting flushed down a toilet, and that is a fun touch. They likely didn't intend to be as fun when they first did it, way back when, but I would guess that they clocked that it became like kind of a revered thing in the first one, and that's why they retained it for the second one, At least that's my interpretation of it, as opposed to improving, in quotations, it in some way, shape, or form for the second iteration. Yeah, a big early takeaway for me, like, especially, it's way less of a thing in the multiplayer because you're talking and you're like, there's communication happening, but playing this part, I think, might be the chief thing about it. The gameplay also is no fun, but I think the bigger problem for me about the one-player experience is the no music. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like fucking existing in this video game vacuum, you know what I mean? And they're just, oh God, it is so boring, both visually and auditorily. so fucking boring to have no music. I'd rather... It's such a banger track, man. Just bring it in every now and again. If that's all you want to give me, fine. But, like, just do something to fucking break up the monotony, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do it at half-mast, volume-wise, or something. Whatever you need to do, man. Like, fucking, you got to give me something interesting happening with audio, though. Because it is so fucking... It feels broken. Like, it honestly feels broken to me to play it one player. It's not even a video game. It is just like... It feels like a demo, you know?
Yeah,
I
you
feel
don't
like
realize
this
it's
one-
not there until it's not there,
Yeah.
and then when it's not there, it stands out.
Yep.
100%. They definitely made this to be a multiplayer game with kind of like, get your friends, play it together. Like, that's when you will have fun. Because that's the only way I had fun playing it.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
It is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. So, playing the thing. And it's funny. We found there to be continues in the multi experience, but I don't think there is in the single player. I think you just die, and the levels go for fucking ever. So that's an interesting thing. Yeah, I don't remember being able to continue. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
That would be funny, penalizing you for having no friends. Like, nope, get some friends.
Yeah, you're getting nowhere. Yeah, go get some friends or don't get anywhere.
Go to Country Skate Land,
Right.
pocket full of quarters, make some friends, get out,
Right.
touch grass.
Go do some fucking roller skate limbo and knock the pole off, have some friends laugh at you, whatever, then go over to the fucking arcade machine. Something to fucking make it interesting, or make your life interesting, rather. I mean, you know, fucking the one-player experience, there's only a handful of things I have to say, really. I mean, you learn your shot upgrades, like the reflective shots, do not carry over from level to level. That's one little notable thing, and that's a bummer. That's just fucking something I noticed about that, too. That's a very... because it kind of bounces forever, which is not forever, it eventually does disappear, I guess, but because it bounces more persistently, you have a higher propensity of shooting the fucking food and shit that you don't want to do with that attack. Was, you know, one of the few things that I noticed in my short solo run. But honestly, I mean, you're just going level to level. There's no strategy to it at all because you're alone. You're just shooting everything you fucking see and trying to mitigate damage. It's not a game. Like, I mean, did you guys, Jab, you didn't even play it, of course. You only played the couch co-op. Jay, you said you didn't do it long. I mean, is there really anything at all to say about the one-player experience, do you think?
No, I mean, it's just stuff flying at you that, like, you got to mitigate all by yourself. And it's just, I found that when we play together, we're able to kind of talk about, like, all right, you know, what do we want to do? Do we want to grab this exit? We want to,
yeah, you go in first. You're the fucking key or whatever. You go, you know, oh, grab this key. My keys are full. You know, come grab this key. Like that.
Like,
that
you're
communication
talking
is,
and communicating.
Right,
Whereas
yeah.
the one player, you're really just like, I
shit,
guess I'm just gonna exit
Go.
this level when I can exit. You know, just stay alive. Like, you know, it's just
Well, yeah, that's honestly the only thing that there is making the choice between that efficiency, safety thing and the greed, collect everything kind of thing. It's the only choice, the only agency you have, I guess, is maybe the thing. And that, you know, that's always one of the things that I want. I want to be able to craft my experience in some way, shape, or form, no matter what genre I'm playing. I need to hold my interest at all. I need to have input on what's happening to me. You can't just fucking feed me a conveyor belt of content and expect me to care. It's not going to happen. So yeah, and this is just a conveyor belt of content. That's such a great... did not have that written down, but that is exactly what it is. A conveyor belt of content of just fucking 8-bit ones and zeros, and there's just nothing there. So,
I mean, everything that whenever I play a game, I've always had the most fun, and I've probably said it before, I've always had the most fun when I'm playing with people and the game is good. You know, then we're having a good time. I'm having a good time with people I want to be playing with, and the game is good. Like, great. This game, like, you know, like, we play it together. Yeah, we're talking, but then when you lose that, without that aspect to it on its own, it's just not as fun.
Demo.
It's just not as fun.
demo.
I didn't play the one player. I just can't imagine what you would do. It just sucks.
It's not good. Yep. Fast forward to end of game, and there isn't one. So, you know, that's even more of a fuck you if you think about it, the one-player experience. Like, the idea... It's not... I mean, honestly, you know, there are videos, like I said, of people cheesing it to fence test this, but the idea, like genuinely, and I know here's the thing: it's been this has been around since 1990. There are some really sick fucks out there, but even given those constants in our universe, those things out there, I don't think there is enough of a sick masochistic fuck with a death wish to have organically gone through all what, like I said, you go through 999 levels and then it just resets to 1. I don't think anyone's ever done that ever. You know what I mean? And
why would you?
Well, again, because there are some sick fucks out there is the why. But like I said, even given that being the case, I don't believe someone would have to show me the video. No, I don't care what other videos they could show me of them being masochistic fucks themselves. Mm-hmm. You would have to show me the actual video of organically playing at 999 fucking levels. And even furthermore, to be convincing enough that you did it really to get me to even scrub through it, let alone actually watch it, obviously. So, like, there's a lot of impediments to me believing that anyone ever has actually, and again, it's not beating it, but the closest thing you can get to doing so as a one-player thing. I just don't see how it's ever happened.
Well, it unfortunately, when you think about this on its own as a one-player game, you just got to start thinking about, like, situationally, when am I going to play this and why would I play this? Like, if I'm just going to pick a time to play a video game by myself, why would I consider this one? So it comes up against, like, every other game that we have on our shit worth playing list. Is it going to compete with it? Am I going to choose to play this instead of one of those or
instead
anything?
Instead of Adventures of Lolo? No
yeah.
way.
I immediately thought of that too. I immediately thought of Adventures of Lolo, and I was like, even Dig Dug. Like, no, I'm not. I'm going to play that instead.
Yeah, way fuck better. Amen to that. After these messages,
we'll be right back.
How can you get all the thrills of Gauntlet 2 to your very own home? Simple. Just pick up the new NES version, Gauntlet 2, with all the graphics, sound, and features of the arcade original.
Welcome, Red Warrior.
From Mindscape. And also available, Days of Thunder.
That is a 1990 U.S. commercial for the NES release of the game, showing the trials and tributes of a backwards hat, jean jacket rocking kid trying to lug home an arcade cabinet of the game to no avail. And Mindscape also tacks on a little tag for their shitty release of Days of Thunder at the end. Move those units, baby! I got a kick out. Yeah, the mentioned Jeb, that was literally in the moment response to it as you watched it there just a moment ago. I got a huge kick out of that mention of all, they're listing off all the things that the NES version brings home from the arcade. And yes, they mentioned it. Not only you just noticed that they mentioned it, which is funny in a vacuum too, but they mention sound being one of the things of the arcade it brings home, as beneath it, the soundscape of the gameplay is just the repetitive sound of Thor's pea shooter firing.
Yeah.
Like nothing. There is no cool sound happening
empty.
beneath it. Yeah, it's fucking.
Yeah.
That is poetic.
Yeah. And they could have talked about anything else. Like, I mean,
right, yeah.
You could have said anything else, like all the excitement that you share with your friends. Like,
right,
boom,
yeah.
perfect.
It's a perfect example of the disconnect at this time between a marketing agency hired to sell a video game, or even internally, if there is a marketing department of the company, and I doubt for Mindscape there was, but the disconnect between those and the people that actually play and understand the game. Yeah, I don't think these people are playing the game. So to them, they're just, this is what they would say about any arcade experience. All the things, what are the attributes of video games that could be brought home? There's graphics, there's sound, there's gameplay. It's just like the categories that would be on a power meter basically, and they're just listing them off with no thought towards whether or not those things are actually arcade level being brought home.
Yeah. It's funny to think about how, like, this is very sidetracky, but like it's just funny to think about how, like, in a company there's like a ton of roles that need to happen to make sure that things get done, and like marketing's one of them, and it's just so funny to think that like nobody in marketing ever stopped to think like, hey, we could just contact one of the designers.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying shit, like.
Well, here's the thing: it's not you can't text, you can't email. You got to actually call the person, get them on the phone. They probably are worked like dogs, and
they're paying you.
They probably don't even have phones in the room.
And it's probably a Japanese-developed game, so the developers are probably in Japan. Whereas, who made this game? I don't even know who made this goddamn game.
Atari made it. Mindscape released it.
Okay, yeah. So they're, the marketing in America is like they're not talking to Japan, who's probably 12 hours behind or ahead.
Well, here's the funny thing, Jab. Atari is an American company.
Is it? It would have got me on that.
Yeah, dude, it was Nolan Bushnell, man. Atari founded it's before when good old fashioned American ingenuity still was carrying the video game industry, which was very, very early on.
I did not know that.
Okay, well, we are now going to discuss the multiplayer couch co-op experience we had, which the video for will be in the show notes.
And which none of you showed up for.
Right, yes. That was maybe the first thing I would bring up, is how disappointed I am in the Lord Disciples, having abandoned us in our dear time of need for this adventure. And yeah, I just couldn't believe it. It made me so sad inside. There were a handful of stalwarts that mentioned their individual tediums that might have prevented them from engaging in two of them, maybe even actually I think Jerome and maybe John were citing the fact that they were unsure that their antiquated laptops could facilitate the technology required to participate. And I'm like, dudes, you could play this game on your TI-83 calculators. What the fuck do you mean? Like, it's an NES game. You don't got to worry about that.
Swear to God, your smart toaster will run it.
Right, yeah.
They're probably I guess Parsec kind of.
Right, yeah, there is Parsec, which is a modern program, but that is not demanding. As long as you have an internet connection, Parsec will work at a theoretical level. Maybe not in a practical level that will require some fucking troubleshooting. But like the technology of Parsec will work on any machine, basically. Yeah. So I thought that was funny, but yeah, it did bum me out. I couldn't believe we couldn't get a fourth player. It would have been cool. So we shall try again on our next 4-player opportunity, I suppose, and see if we can get the participation that we yearned for in this case. So on our 3-player play, Jab went tank, as always. Jay went Wizzy, as always, as well as still played like a tank, also as always. And I went elf because I like the idea of trying out his speed. As I mentioned in my 1-player, I went Valkyrie. Did you, Jay, were you the Wizzy in your 1-player as well? I don't think we covered
that. I mean, I have to. I'm not going to switch it up.
Figured as much. Yeah. So yeah, then we played Gauntlet, and it was more fun than solo. End of podcast.
I don't know what else to say. I was thinking, I was like, what are we going to say? It was just
I spent, whenever, like, when my flow for doing these multi games where we're going to couch co-op mostly in just you and I's case, Jay, like, I'll play the full game in its 1-player experience. I'll do my notes the way I always do for those, and then we'll play the 2-player thing, and I'll usually like put the video on in the background and maybe do something else and just kind of jot down notes as I relive that moment in audio form, or those moments in audio form. And I did that for maybe 20-30 minutes this morning with the couch co-op video, and like I was like, there's fucking nothing to say, man. It's fucking other than we played 30-something levels, and after an hour of it, I was all set on playing Gauntlet 2 ever again in the near future. Like that was really the only thing I have to say about it. It was fun, and like that sounds like a total shitting on it, but I had fun for that hour. But at the end of that hour, I was all set.
It was done. Nothing else.
Yeah, it's just, it is a cool idea. And like you said, the communication component of it is a great deal of fun, but for a very finite window of time.
Exactly. I think to your point, and it's funny that Jap keeps mentioning it, but like, if I think about like, hey, do I want to choose a fantasy character and go through dungeons or levels with my friends, like, I'll play Diablo 4. Like, I'm having, like, I love that game. Like, I'll just do that instead, unfortunately.
This
was great for the
this,
time.
but better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe that's an interesting maybe talking point there too, because I mean that applies to every single NES game.
Yeah.
There is a modern version of every NES experience, and some it may be in a more disconnected, less literal / easily discerned, fucking thread between the two than what we're saying here in Diablo and Gauntlet, but it's always there. But there is something about the NES versions of those other examples that we're not bothering to cite specifically here, maybe, or I'm not, that make the NES version appealing in its own way, shape, or form. Gauntlet 2 is totally deprived of that. It is literally just a lesser version of Diablo in every single facet. There's maybe, other than the amusement of Red Valkyrie shot the food, that's it. That's all there is as far as like things that are more enjoyable about this than Diablo, and that is the tough thing that, again, it's so hard to criticize it for, because it is just the foundational building block, or at least close to, the theory that they stole even that, or Atari stole even that from whatever that other thing was that I can't remember and I should have written down like a better podcaster. Either way, it's a very foundational building block towards what we're saying is a more enjoyable experience, but it's still missing something. There's something missing, it's just not, there's something that does not give you enough satisfaction to sit down and play it. Even then, I mean, the reason I didn't play this really back then either is the same thing. It was just boring, It was cool for a brief moment. There's like the mystique jab of playing the arcade version at fucking Campus Video, sure. Yep. One, because it's an arcade machine. Two, because me and you staying next to each other with fucking a quarter, that's fun for a few minutes. But the idea of getting the cart, going home, and sitting down and playing it, nah, I'm all set.
Like,
there's other shit. I got other shit to do. There's a way better carts to be rented and to be owned than this could ever possibly give me. And it's just, it is just lacking something. And
yeah,
I
think that's exactly what it was. I was sitting here thinking like, and I always ask myself this even when we do the blessing part, so maybe this is like foreshadowing, but like, would I play a remastered version of this? Even because even if we're like, hey, if somebody were to re-release this, upgraded graphics, make it sharp, make it more 3D, stand up, zoom it in a little bit, maybe just so it's like, oh wow, Gauntlet 2.
Yeah, if you maybe make this one, if you can go down into turn it into a first person deal as an option, that would be an interesting. There's a million things that you could do to make it to kind of bring forward the technology of the experience, but I think,
it's
unless
still the
there
same,
was,
though.
Yeah,
still
exactly.
Like it's not enough
unless you did something to change the goals. And that's the thing too, is if you were to modernize this and do a remaster, they would layer in these sub goals. That's the thing too. You only have the one goal of points and progress, and there's no payoff to achieving those goals. That might be the core fucking problem, actually, in so many words, is your only goal has no payoff. That is the incompletion of the experience, is that it doesn't, there's nothing that you ever really get satisfaction from the gameplay. We're finding satisfaction and enjoyment in each other's company and the communication that we're fucking experiencing while doing that one, striving towards that pointless goal. But that's not the game giving us satisfaction. That's something we can fucking do with any other game to play together that we would choose. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
that's the power of friendship.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yes. Yeah. And fucking Gauntlet 2 maybe gives you a platform with which to experience that, but it's not doing anything that anything else with multiplayer capabilities wouldn't also give you.
I'd rather play Demio and be my wizard there.
Oh, let's go do 100%.
I mean, by the time you were done building this new version of Gauntlet, you know what you would have? You just have Diablo.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, even before you even did anything else, if you just like updated the graphics and stuff, and so it's like, call it current generation era sharp graphics, but the game is still a top down kind of stuff. It's still like, oh, it's cool for like the first 2 levels. Yep. Then you're like, all right, I'm not gaining levels.
And dude, and this, I always talk about it, but it's funny. This is just the most shining example of that thing that those fucking my kitchen boys interviews touched on, is that when you first sit down to make the game, the first thing you got to do is that game loop. What is the activity that I'm going to be doing while I play your game and traverse your story and whatever other things that you end up building around it. But that first kernel of what I'm putting into the controller and what it puts on the screen in front of me, is that fun? And this isn't fucking fun. I'm just shooting. Like I said, I don't even know how I didn't even know that the difference between the two attacks is happening, because it's just not interesting enough to care or want to know or try to employ the slightly different input sequences that would generate those differences. You know what I mean? It's just not fun. And that is its problem, amidst so many other things that we're saying is lacking. So, yeah.
This is such a crazy conversation. I would have never expected it to go this way, because I just have the fond memory of playing it together and being like, oh, fun times, but it was clearly just a rental or something. Limited amount of time,
nostalgia's a hell of a drug.
Limited fun.
Nostalgia's a hell of a drug.
Like I said, but again, if I rented it and I only had that limited a couple of days to play it, I'm sure I had fun that couple of days. Me and my brother and whoever else was like, oh, look at that, we're having fun. But then we didn't get to the point, we didn't play it long enough to be like, all right, so is there a goal? Like, what are we doing?
Wait, what exactly are we doing here?
Yeah. But honestly, a developer at Atari trying to justify their life and effort at the time would tell you that is what the arcade game is. Like, that finite window you're talking about, that rental gave you the impression of enjoyment in its original design concept was infinitely shorter than even that. You're talking about 11 minutes at an arcade where mom tells you it's time to go. Like, that's what they were trying to do, and they crushed that.
That's
which is how it ended up on your NES to begin with, you know what I mean? So that would be the kind of argument you would get giving that to someone who made this game back then. But that's not the prism with which we are viewing it here, unfortunately for them. So let us move on to the formalities that will come in the next segment of King Lorg's Blessing.
I've not seen such bravery.
That is the
Don't shoot your friends on this level.
bringing us into the verdict.
Ever had to resort to that to even get a full fucking podcast soundtrack going. Tisk tisk.
Oh, if we were really brave, we would have just had silence.
That would have been fuck. I still have that editing choice. I can still make that editing choice later.
Still do it, but I think the joke there is probably a little fun.
That would be great. Actually, that would be amazing. Actually, to basically,
why don't you just have Jay do a plug right now of that is nothing coming in.
The silence.
Edit that later if you want.
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah.
Sorry, I fucked the flow up, but I think it's worth it.
It could be, yeah, no, I like it, actually. Because I could just, literally, even the opening, just take all music out of it, would be hilarious, because they would just be these people would think the podcast was broke. Which is exactly the sentiment we want them to have. And I love the idea that the reveal will happen at the end for anyone who actually was willing to listen to us for 2 hours.
Made it that far. Yeah, let it breathe just a little longer than you probably should have, and people be like, "What the fuck?" And that was nothing because there is nothing.
Right? Yeah. What I could do is, as opposed to having you announce it, Jay, I can just lop off the top of each segment, and it'll just say I'll you know what I'll do, because sometimes you mentioned that is and whatever, it can literally, I can just mute the words that you say citing the song name or the track name, and it can just be like, that is, and then it'll be a few seconds of silence bringing us into and that's actually that's even a better joke.
There's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun, so I'll definitely do that. Well, before I get to the editing phase of this, where I'll actually maybe have some fun, let us go through the formalities of our individual, what I anticipate to be negatives on the blessing for Gauntlet 2. Jab, bring your guest star experience here up front of this little segment.
So you want to talk about it at first?
I want you to tell us whether you give it the blessing or not. I don't give a shit how much you say.
Yeah. No, how could I give the blessing? It's just not. There's not a lot there. And the little bit that was there, like we mentioned before, the enjoyment of strategizing, okay, the tank's gonna go in, clear the room, and then we'll follow up and do this, that, and the other. Or I remember we were strategizing the use of the ability to walk through the walls and whatnot. So like, I can't remember who it was that had like that ability at the time, but like they were tasked with like doing something specific, and like we talked about it briefly, you know, to strategize it. That was fun, but there's A, not enough of that, and B, I can get plenty more of that with a ton. It's also not fair to view this game like, I can do that with you guys with some modern game. We can play Helldivers too. Like, yeah, that's not what's on trial here. But yeah, I think even removing like the potential for like modern games that allow all that strategizing and communication, I don't know, man. There's nothing there, and the no music is it's just so empty. Like a good game, Trailblazer. Like this is not a full shit on the game, but I like you said, I can't imagine I'm ever going to play it again.
Yep. Jay, what words do you have for us?
You know, the questions I always have to ask. Did I have fun? Yes, multiplayer. No, single player. Would I recommend it to someone else? I can't say that I would.
No.
Would I consider playing it again, you know, for fun via remaster version if available? I would check it out. Like, if it's like $5 or less, I might check it out. But otherwise...
It would have to be just so bell and whistle laden to actually be satisfied with the purchase, you know?
Yeah, like I said, if it was a couple dollars, I would check it out just to see, because, like, it might be fun. But then, if it's more than like $3, I'm like, I don't even know if it's worth it then. So I guess, as much fun as I enjoyed, like, as much fun as I had playing this back in the day, on a co-op level, clearly I never got to end, and now I know why, because there is no end. I always wondered in my mind, like, man, we played for a while, we had fun, like, I wonder, because there's no end. And so I guess I would have to, this leans negative, I must say, no blessing.
As expected. Yeah, man, the one-player experience it's not a fucking video game. It's exercise in stimuli-deprived tedium. It's a conveyor belt of content. It's a fucking just nothing of the no way. You know, you said empty, Jab, was a word you used. It is. It's an empty emotional experience in every possible way. You know, there's no emotional response coming from the audio, the music, other than the occasional laugh at Red Valkyrie shot the food. And that, I think that might the reason that is even revered, kind of, maybe that's an overstatement, but like the reason people will chuckle at that, I think, is just the significance of having heard something at all. And like, it's literally when it comes in, you know, you're obviously not expecting it to happen. You don't intentionally shoot the food 9 times out of 10. So more than that, probably. So when it happens, you're just like, oh, fuck, there's some sound.
Like, I do have sound. Wow.
Yeah. The fucking sound chip on my NES isn't broken. So yeah, it's just devoid of any emotional stimuli of any kind, man. And that's awful. Obviously, the first player experience. And yeah, even the multi, cool, but. We could have got that. Everything we got from it, we can get from something else. Yeah. Nothing unique about Gauntlet 2 created those emotional responses. It was all just the built-up rapport the three of us have from playing a bunch of other games and having a bunch of other conversations about video games. We're just literally filtering those previous experiences through this content conveyor belt, and you know,
it's not adding to our experience.
It's not at all. Yeah,
there's nothing. There's really nothing there. There's no.
We're never gonna look back here and say, "Oh, I wish this game had that Gauntlet 2 mechanic." Like,
exactly. That's a really good point.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, you're never gonna see in a Bobo's Big Adventure Gauntlet 2. But maybe they could actually turn that into fun. That's possible. And that'll be. Like I said, I tweeted the guy our 100th episode. One of the creators of that the other day, and it sounds like we are going to get an order of verdict with all three of them, which is pretty cool. Nice. But one of the questions I have for them, listening to other interviews and stuff, they've mentioned that like the games that they almost did Worlds for, and honestly, I also read the only reason that it was limited to 8 was because of they were hard set on keeping the Mega Man 2 level select screen. So that obviously is a finite number of options that you can have because of that. Otherwise, they said, I mean, it already took them 10 years to get it out. Who knows how long it would have taken because they would have kept building levels. But 2 of the things that they mentioned that were super close calls were Ninja Gaiden and Castlevania, as far as Worlds go, which of course is the most obvious thing ever, maybe. But asking them what maybe number 3 is, and also, you know, some other things that just missed the cut is certainly some of the questions that I have to discuss with them. But it would blow my fucking mind. That's a long way of getting to it. Would really blow my fucking mind if one of them said, we almost did a Gauntlet one. That would fucking blow my mind. Because, yeah, Abobo is a one-player experience, with the exception of that one little Contra thing, is a one-player experience. So I can't imagine how someone with a close fondness for the Nintendo player experience in the early 90s, late 80s, thinking that this one-player experience should include a Gauntlet thing, and that just kind of plays into what you were saying. Well, you'll never have someone who appreciates this gaming landscape look back on any certain specific aspect of Gauntlet and go, I want more of that.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you fucking don't. So, that's it. We don't take a lot of terribly misguided game app tracks that aren't generated by $100 contributions to Able Gamers Foundation or something like that. So this unfortunately was one of them, despite our enthusiasm about the multiplayer aspect of this. I think this was a little bit of a misguided thing. It's funny that it happens right after our 100th episode. That was such a banger, that we immediately take this. I guess it gives it, that peak and valley, ebb and flow of our data distribution. Maybe that's what will make the next one so much better, is we have this low point, and whatever we do next will feel like the greatest thing ever for both listeners and us as players.
I'll finish it off on a positive. I will say one thing. One thing that I always took from this and remembered to this day from my time playing this game was the idea of it being like the fantasy characters in a co-op fashion. Because we played Dragon Warrior and other games where you might have some classes, but you're on your own, like single player RPG, which I clearly never played those long ass games as a kid. And so like I always remember like co-op fantasy as starting with this. So I will say, I'll retract my statement as being not as harsh as it was before, because I will always, for me, think of this as like kind of my first foray into that before other games. I don't think that's an apple falling too far from the tree of a point we've made a bunch of times over here, which is it being a foundational building block for many other things. But again, they missed. You can have that and still miss the again. I think it's just devoid of emotion. Yeah.
Like that doesn't change that problem with it, and that is the most
core
kernel of necessity.
For sure. I'm definitely never gonna. I'm still never gonna go back and play it. But I'm
Don't
always
worry,
gonna
I'm never
remember
gonna play
it. Yeah,
don't you worry.
I'm just gonna always remember it when I play other ones. Like, oh yeah, Gauntlet 2 was my first time.
Don't you worry your pretty little head. I'm not
It's
suggesting
funny.
that you play Gauntlet 2.
I do think of it like in a positive light.
Right.
Like I don't have a problem with the game. It's just there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And for some reason, real quick, there's no other place to plug this, so I just got to do it now. For some reason, I can picture us playing it in AJ Kelm's room.
Really?
I had no fucking clue.
We haven't
why.
talked about AJ Kelm here in a while.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to plug it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I wonder if he had any. Is there anything in Gauntlet 2 that could create an outburst like throwing your controller through the window?
Well, I mean, that just goes to
Blades of
show.
Steel.
Yeah, exactly. That just goes to show. Blades of Steel actually invoked some emotion. Like dopamine payoff. Like,
Yeah.
that's a perfect example. You're not throwing the controller through the fucking window over Gauntlet.
For Gauntlet 2, yeah. There's nothing in Gauntlet 2. Maybe that's the best thing you can say about it is that, like we were talking about,
destroying property.
Here's our full circle fucking bookend things to say that bring it all back around. In our What We're Playing Now segment, we talked about the comfort food nature of SimCity and how, it is just kind of this also kind of emotionless, just gradual build, but there's enough minutia to it to give you those little satisfaction moments that make it an actually good game. But Gauntlet 2 is a little bit of a comfort food thing in the same way, in that, yes, it's kind of, you're just gonna, it's mindless. It's a conveyor belt of content. That's, again, it goes back to that point. It's just like, it's just gonna feed you some shit that you can just stuff in your face and not think about, and it's gonna give you no nutritional value or anything. It's just gonna occupy your hand for a while, and if that's what you want, Gauntlet 2's got you. Next up is Nintendo Power Issue 22. You can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided, whatever dumbass company that does serve up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on that podcast platform of choice, or any other for that matter. The website is nyehentertainment.com /ISOH pod. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. Follow the pod on Facebook and or Instagram. There's a link to the YouTube gameplay videos playlist in the show notes. You can also get to our ISOH subreddit if you want to get down on us on Reddit and avoid Mark Zuckerberg altogether. And we do not have a Patreon, but if you'd like giving money to things podcasters tell you to, and like to set our direction, the Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities. That's cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. I actually have still 2 prints from the movie I just did that are very retro themed, 3x2 deals. Whatever you think is fair as far as a donation to Able Gamers goes, send me a receipt for that. And if you're willing to pay the shipping too, which probably won't be a very small amount of money, I found with the huge one, the 4x3 that I sent Jerome, cost an insane amount of money to mail something. The USPS won't even do it. Won't even send something in a box this big, which I learned. Doesn't surprise me. I've never left the USPS and not been absolutely disgusted with my experience at any point in my entire life. So I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was very surprised to find that they won't even ship it at all. But it was like $400-something to send via UPS, which is wild for a piece of a thing that weighs like literally. It's just cardstock. It weighed like less than a pound. With the box, probably not even 2 pounds. And it cost,
craziness.
yeah, 400, so like closer to $500 to send, actually.
Does he live in the United Kingdom? Like, where
no,
is
dude, that's to send it to fucking Ohio, to near Youngstown.
What?
Yeah, it was $500 to send in a borderline empty box. But that's the price of happiness, guys. Nostalgia happiness. That's the price. So, yes, that's available. If you want to email us a receipt for Able Gamers, you can score one of those. The pictures of those on their website or on the Facebook page and Instagram if you want to take a look at them to pique your interest. There's also T-shirts on the website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. I'm rocking one right now. So is Jay. T almost said the same thing again. Woo! Jay, what are your socials?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That's where you can find me when I'm posting. Come, let's play some games on Xbox.
Jab, how do we find you on the internet?
You cannot find me on the internet.
MPO Box 0031 on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram also. If you get tired of looking at Jab's feed, you can find my feed at MyShiftKeyIsBroke, and my Twitter is @JoshFolan. And if I ever get back into VR, you can find me on there at MyShiftKeyIsBroke as well. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Later.
Red Warrior, your life force is running out. Red Warrior is about to die.
That is a 1990 U.S. commercial for the NES release of the game, showing the trials and tributes of a backwards hat, Gene Jack. God fucking damn it.
That first try.